We spend so much of our lives chasing validation, acceptance, approval, affection, success, all in the hopes that one day we might truly feel loved. But what if love is not something that we find outside of ourselves, in another person, or in other things? What if love is something that we become, as we remember that it is the truth of what we really are? And as we become that love is the gift that we share with everybody and everything that we come in contact with in this life. My name is Ed Hegan. I'm a former New York City firefighter, and I've gone into burning buildings in New York City. But I've also gone deep into the burning desires of the human heart. And I've learned that the greatest longing that most of us carry is this desire to be loved, to be seen and heard and valued and accepted, and to feel a sense of belonging, to be held and cared for by people for the truth of who we really are. And so we search for it in partners, in people, in praise, in material things, in outward success. But the truth is, the love that we seek is not out there. It's not in someone else. It's not in another place and time. The love that we seek is within. And until we clearly see that, we'll keep mistaking attachment for love and expectation for connection. And today's meditation is an invitation for you to return to yourself, to the source of love that has always been yours. And let's start this meditation with a few deep, grounding breaths. That is a form of love as we connect to our bodies, as we connect to each other, as we connect to the present moment. Exhale all the air out of your lungs. Inhale gently through the nose. Hold and feel the space around your heart expand as you slowly release. Inhale loving acceptance of yourself just as you are. Fill the belly. Hold. And slowly release any tension that you're holding inside. Breathe in deeply and remind yourself that love is not earned, but it is the truth of who you are. Hold and keep that in your heart. And let it open and release. And rest in the peace of knowing that you are whole and complete and loved just as you are. Some of the key points for today's meditation is to remind ourselves that the love that we seek is often love that we withhold from ourselves. That we mistakenly think that the love is out there somewhere. So we seek, we look, and we put energy into the seeking. When sometimes the energy that we direct outwardly, we can direct inwardly as a means of turning towards oneself and recognizing the parts of us that feel unloved, unaccepted, unwanted. The parts of us that don't feel like they belong. Sometimes it's the parts of us that we try to hide because we're afraid that if we reveal the truth of who we are, we might not be loved and accepted. And so guess whose job it is to learn to accept and love and embrace the parts of us that we normally hide. Yeah, that's right. Your job, my job, to give it to myself and not to seek it outside. And in that way, we take our power back. We're not seeking the things that we have inside of us from other people, other things, success. And when we start to practice this self-love, we stop seeking permission to feel worthy, because we don't require other people's permission or external conditions to feel worthy, to feel whole and complete. Because you're not missing love. What we're missing is connection to the source within us, where we are reminded that we are the very things that we're looking for. Because real love doesn't need or want. It gives. It is generous. It radiates. Real love shares freely. And most of our relationships as human beings are transactional. If you do this, I'll love you back. If you act this way, I'll act this way. And if I give you this, you'll give me that. But that's not really love. That's a contract. That's an arrangement. That's a transaction. To become love, we have to remove the ego. We have to remove the conditions, the demands, the scorekeeping, the fears. And we have to recognize that the love that we cultivate within ourselves is something that we share freely with our life experience. No matter who or where or how we come across situations in life, that the love is not outside of us, but something that we create for ourselves and then share as the essence of our being. And so we don't need someone else to reflect our value. We can become our own mirror. And when we become our own mirror, we're able to reflect the things that we're feeling inside outwardly, instead of needing another person to remind us that we contain these values within us. And in that way, when we stop needing love, when we stop desperately trying to grab and cling and hold on to things, because sometimes it's like trying to grab onto water, it just slips through your fingers. But when you let go and you stop needing love, you become free to truly give it. And in that way, love becomes not something that you seek for outside of yourself, or something you get if you meet certain conditions. But love becomes what you are. You are love. And when you become love, you love this world not for what it gives you. We love other people not for what they can provide for us, but we love life, existence, people, and all of this life experience for what it is. And that's a gift that we can give to ourselves. But we have to remind ourselves that we oftentimes look outside of ourselves for this love. And I understand that when you were younger, there was a part of you that needed to feel loved and safe and validation, to feel approval and acceptance and belonging, as if your needs mattered, because they did. As if the pain you were carrying of feeling rejected and abandoned is a pain that can only be healed by repairing the wound that happened when you were younger. And there is truth to that. It does require us to tap into the part of ourselves where we felt that wound. But the truth is, we cannot go back in time. We cannot go back and give those people that brought us into the world the tools, the skills, the knowledge to provide for us the love and acceptance that we needed when we were just young people, babies, toddlers, children, adolescents. But we can sit with what it feels like to connect with those parts of our being. We can also just be gentle with ourselves, putting our hand on our heart, another hand on our belly, and reminding ourselves that the child inside of us that needs to feel loved, the toddler that felt abandoned and ignored, the adolescent that was acting out rebelliously, looking for attention. We can sit tenderly with the parts of ourselves that feel overlooked and neglected and abandoned. And we can remind ourselves that they're safe now, they're loved, and they're accepted. We can remind ourselves, the younger version of ourselves, the child within us, that we have your back now. We love and support you. And when you say we, I mean we as I am you, you are me. We see ourselves in each other. And when we do that, we not only heal the wounded inner parts of ourselves, but then we can look at other people. And when we offer ourselves that love, compassion, acceptance, tenderness, affection, all the things that we look for outside, if we can give it to ourselves, which is the only true source of where it can come from, we can then look at other people, see the wounded child within them, see ourselves in them, and just like the golden rule, to treat other people the way that we want to be treated. And this can be a radical act of healing the wounds that we've carried for decades in our lives. And you don't have to go through this journey alone. If you want to work with me one-on-one, you can reach out for a free discovery call at edwoodstock.com. And we can talk about some one-on-one coaching, or you want to do an 8-week program that really helps you to reestablish and redefine who you are and transform yourself from looking outside to looking within and finding that inner peace. And so it can be really helpful for us to connect and understand each other in a true and vulnerable way. And so I just want to speak to that part of ourselves that feels wounded and neglected and overlooked and abandoned, and remind you that you are already what you seek. That self-love is not a luxury, but it's the foundation of all other love. Because we can only give and receive love at the level that we have it within ourselves. The capacity for us to give and receive love is based upon the relationship we have with ourselves. So if we want to experience more love, acceptance, approval, affection, validation, all the things, the foundation upon which we receive that is based upon how we are giving that to ourselves. And it starts with you. And this kind of love, when we learn to love ourselves in this way, it teaches us how to love others without expectation. It teaches us how to accept other people and their flaws and imperfections, because when we embrace and accept ourselves as we are, despite our imperfections, we can then offer that very same thing to other people. And so the more we release the ego grip, the more that we release this need for this special, selfish love, the more that the love becomes universal, the more it becomes the truth of who we are. And it reminds us that we don't have to chase love. We just have to be still and listen to the truth within us, to remind us that we are and always have been everything we've been looking for. Because love is not something to get. Love is something to give. Love is a way to live. And the person who deserves that love more than anybody in the whole wide world, in the whole universe, you deserve your love as much as anybody else. And so when you learn to sit with yourself in compassion, presence, and truth, when we stop seeking other people to complete us, because we remind ourselves that we are already whole and complete as we are, that is the real love story. The true love story of our lives is between us and this divine spark within us that reminds us that everything that we've been looking for has been within us the whole time. And now, it's our turn to remind ourselves of that, and then to share that gift and let it radiate out into the world.